It was reported in The Sun earlier this week that the studio audience at X Factor have been asked not to boo, so as not to put the acts under too much emotional strain. But it's apparently still okay to have a go at the judges, which is a relief. So should booing be banned, and how much do you like joining in with a crowd with a good old yay or boo?
You see, I think yeah and clapping is fantastic, but I think the booing is just awful.
Well, not all the time.
I do. I think it's destroying. I mean, those kids up there, come on, they're only kids. You know, whatever you think, we're talking about John and Edward and, you know,
yeah,
whatever.
but they're like pantomime characters
That's not the point. That's not the point. They do not deserve us to boo them.
They like it, Sherrie. They wouldn't be on there if they weren't booed.
How do you know?
Because they wouldn't be on it if they weren't being booed. Would they? They're not on it for the talent. They're great fun and entertaining, but it's part of the pantomime.
No,
Maybe
they're going to, how upset are those kids going to be? Whether you like them or not, they don't deserve us sitting there booing them. How destroying is that for them when they come off stage? How upsetting.
No, in this case, it's the only reason that they're there. I agree with you in lots of things. I mean, I've been booed, obviously, as the Wicked Queen, in which I was quite glad.
Yeah, but
I mean, I know what you're saying. I'm not into sort of theatrical cruelty at all. But I think in that instance, they've become almost like pantomime villains because they know why they're there.
But they don't know they're pantomime
villains.
Well,
from what I'm reading...
And you believe everything you read.
No, I don't. Will you stop having a go at me today?
When do you think it is okay to boo, Sherrie?
I don't think it is okay to boo unless you're booing Denise. We can all boo Denise now.
When you had your nosebleed and I really looked after you, and afterwards it said that we were at war for about 10 weeks. Well, now we will be.
That's right. That's a
live on Loose Women today.
What about joining in with a crowd? You know, when you do go along, do you like? Take for example, I went to see the lovely Joe Pasquale earlier this week. He was very good. But because I knew him. And also because I know what it's like to perform in front of a live audience. Not so much Joe, but his warm-up man that he had, who was fabulous, and he was juggling and doing, you know, magic acts and this sort of stuff. I was clapping extra loudly just to give him lots of support because I felt a bit sorry for him because not everyone was getting behind him in the way that they should. Do you do that sort of thing? Do you cheer extra loudly?
I cheer if I really feel that I want to, or if I'm enjoying something. I think it's got to be quite truthful. I'm going to see Hairspray this weekend, which is a fantastic show, and I know I will be up there. I'll be whooping, cheering, dancing, annoying everybody around me because I think it's great. However, if I'm not enjoying something, I won't do it. And if I'm in a concert or a gig or a theatre thing or whatever, and other people are really going for it, but I don't agree, I will sit there like miserable old git and not join in. But I have to say, if it's clapping and booing, the worst thing of all, and I was many, many years ago, I was a stand-up comedian. Clearly not very good because it didn't last long. But the worst thing of all was not the clapping or the booing, it was the silence. That is so much worse when you sit in there and you've got blank faces. Entertain me. Look at, I mean, it's just awful. Horrendous. So I think clapping, booing, for me, far better than anything.
I think I'm very supportive of a good show, and I think I'm very supportive of my friends from the clapping and wooing, and I'm very supportive of the Loose Women competition, you may have noticed, with my wooing. But also, it's like, you know, if you go to somewhere where there's like a sort of a piano bar and there's somebody playing, and it's such a thankless task, and I'm always doing that. Come on, in the corner, because but sometimes when I feel that people are doing over-the-top clapping, it sometimes really annoys me. And it's like, you know, when Wimbledon's on, and like a bird lands on the net, and people go, in absolute hysterics.
That's a very weird
Or
thing.
if you're watching the skating, not the dancing on ice, but the sort of, you know, professional skaters, and it's like a really slow tune, and people start clapping along, and they're never in time, are they? Never in time. But
I remember Les Dennis telling me that he was in a club one day, and he had to stay on when he was very young. He had to stay on to get paid, and they were all booing and shouting and throwing things at him, but he wouldn't get off because he wouldn't get paid. And eventually the manager went on stage and he went, "Come on, lad, don't punish yourself." And
This is one more thing about the clubs, because you were saying about the clubs, and my husband Tim did the clubs for years and went great some nights and died a death other nights. Anyway, he died this death one night in this club, and the sort of MC of the club came up to him and said, "You see, comedy's all right, Tim, if you like laughing."